Welcome to DowerChin.com. Today we're going to take a look at late 2015 upgrades for the Surface Pro 3. Now, being that it's later in 2015, the Surface Pro 4 and the Surface Book have come out. So does that mean the Surface Pro 3 is not relevant anymore? Not really. It's still a very good tablet. And so what can you do to spruce it up? Now, first things first, new pen. This is the pen that comes with the Surface Pro 4 and the Surface Book, and you can buy these separately. We'll take a look at the pens and see what the differences are. Now, the new Surface Pro 4 pen, or Surface Book pen, or we'll just call it simply the new N-Trig pen, is a bit taller. I'll take a look closely. So you can see from here, it is taller. And the one interesting thing about the new pen is the tip is replaceable. And if you buy a pen separately, it'll cost you about $60. And it comes with a kit with 4 different tips that you can replace. Now, this is the hardest tip that you can get, and you notice how much bigger it is. It's kind of a little wide, nubby thing, and it's the hardest tip that you can get on it. The thing about it then also is the lack of buttons on the side. Actually, looks that way. The old Surface Pro pen had 2 buttons. This one only has 1. Actually, it's hidden away in this strip over here. This flat part, is actually where the pen would stick onto the side of your Surface Pro 4 or the Surface Book. You don't really you can't do that here if you want to. It does sort of work. This is where the power plugs in, and it does have a magnet to kind of stick, so you can actually get away doing it this way. So it's kind of cool. So something you really can't do with the, well, you sort of can do it with the old one, but it's a little bit flimsy because it's round. It doesn't have any flat spots to put that on. Other things you can look at about the pen is that the new pen actually has an eraser tip. And now you still have to pair it up like you would the pen here, holding down the button and pairing it up Bluetooth wise. Now the one difference you get, now obviously this one here, you click the button once, launches one note, and same thing happens here. Click on it, launches one note. The other thing that you can in the newer tablets is you can double click and it goes into a clipping mode. That doesn't happen on the Surface Pro 3. But if you hold this down, you get Cortana to come up and you can ask Cortana questions. So it's a quick way to launch Cortana. All right, so let's get out of that. And so the pen does work. So it works just fine. Now the difference is, well, you don't get the benefits of the extra pressure sensitivity you get on the Surface Book as well as the Surface Pro 4. You're still limited to the, I think, 256 levels of pressure that you had with the original pen. It's just a limitation in the digitizer itself. The software for the Surface software is been updated as well for Windows 10, and you can still run it to tweak the settings for your pen pressure. So you can still tweak it for more sensitivity, less sensitivity, to basically adjust the pressure to how you feel like. It's very, very important. The one thing you can't do anymore, though, the older version of this, what they used to call the Surface Hub, actually allowed you to customize the buttons, and apparently that's no longer the case. It doesn't. You can't customize buttons anymore. Hopefully that's something they'll fix in a future software update. But this button still works if you want to click and right click to get right click functionality. It still does that. So if you were on a desktop here, if you click, hold this down and tap, it actually acts as a right click. So that still does work. And the most added benefit is, once again, the eraser. So with this, you can flip it over, and now you have the eraser tip to work with, so you can actually erase. So that's something you really can't do with this. This would actually launch OneNote on you, and that's not going to work. So there is some benefit of getting the Surface Pro 4 pen or the new N-Trig pen on the Surface Pro 3. You get once again, you get the tip, you get the eraser tip. So it's definitely a nice addition. And it's also a little bit feels a little bit heavier than the original one. So the original still feels good. This is a little bit better. So there's definitely an improvement. So moving on, keyboard. One of the new keyboards out, new type cover, is significantly different in the sense that if we yank the keys out and take a look at them closely, you see that as far as the side-by-side here, that's not a good side. So you can see that the keys are a little bit, well, they're a little bit different in the sense that they are spread out. So the keys, I didn't mind this keyboard that much, but I did make a lot of mistakes on it, and partly it's because there is no spacing between the keys. So you can easily just ramrod into multiple keys, and there was nothing you could do about that. And it was just because it's all one big conglomerated piece. The trackpad was definitely an improvement over the previous type keyboard, but you can see with this one that the trackpad is much larger. So it is quite a bit larger. It's got a smooth surface. It's much more smooth than the original one. This had a little bit of a texture to it. It wasn't terrible, but this is a lot smoother and a lot nicer. So, and the keys being separated out, it makes typing a lot more comfortable. The key feel is a little less noisy, and it just feels a lot nicer. The other thing is that you have here is the addition of a FN toggle. So the FN toggle, when you click on it and it illuminates, you can actually use the function keys as function keys and not have to worry about holding FN and doing this to get the function keys to work. So it's a toggle, which is great because, being Windows still likes to use function keys. And so this gives you the options. If you click it off, you can then use the functions like the illumination, volume controls, and so forth. And then clicking that, you get your function keys, which is really nice. The other thing too is the addition of this kind of menu key. This is sort of almost like a right click, but it's a specific menu key that brings up options for some programs, which is real nice. So that's another addition that's on here as well. So how does it all work? Let's go and put this together. And it's really stiff because it's new, but yeah, so I got that here. Cancel that, minimize this, minimize this. We'll bring up WordPad real quick to show that. So the keyboard is a lot, I don't know, I feel it's a lot nicer. It just feels much nicer to type on. Oops. Oops, yeah, that's just my bad typing. So I still make a lot of mistakes, but it feels a lot nicer. The key noise is a lot better. The old one was a little more clackety sounding, and this feels a lot nicer. It feels more sturdy. And the trackpad, once again, is really, really comfortable. It's great. It's a nice improvement. So those are two of the major upgrades that you can do this year for the Surface Pro 3. So once again, the pen, I would say, if you're a pen user, it's a great upgrade to have for the fact you get variable feeling tips between harder and softer, so it feels much nicer to use. The eraser tip is really quite nice, and the added functionality of holding it down to launch Cortana is a nice added addition. And then the keyboard, I would say, is a definite plus if you were looking for a better typing experience. The new type keyboard is fantastic to use. Excellent trackpad, extra FN toggle key, a little extra menu button to go along with it, and just a larger trackpad. It's a great addition. So there you have it. A look at some upgrades for your existing Surface Pro 3, or if you're considering buying a Surface Pro 3 instead of a Pro 4 to save some money, these are some two accessories that you should look into getting to improve your user experience. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below, and please like my video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.